Good afternoon. I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to our Addington Highlands Council meeting, Tuesday, March the 17th, 2026. Today's meeting is being streamed live via the Township of Addington Highlands YouTube channel. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of the live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of a debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Notice is hereby provided that under the authority of the Municipal Act 2001 and in accordance with Ontario's Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, that all information provided for at a public meeting/consultation or other public process are considered part of the public record. Members of council staff, delegations, and attendees should be mindful of using names of individuals or entities when discussing matters in public. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. As per the Township's procedure bylaw as amended, all votes during electronic meetings will be recorded votes. All of council is present in the meeting room at the Addington Highlands Community Centre, Denbigh. Thank you. We have a couple additions to the agenda, so I'm just going to read the motion to approve the agenda. That it be resolved that the regular meeting agenda dated March 17th, 2026 be approved as amended to include a verbal update from the Deputy Clerk/Planning Secretary regarding the Quinte Conservation Authority tree planting partnership application and a motion to go into a closed meeting. So we have a mover, seconder. Moved by Councillor Léveillé, seconded by Councillor Yanch. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Léveillé?
Yes.
Councillor Yanch?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Adoption of the regular meeting minutes of March the 3rd, 2026. Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Deputy Reeve Hook. Any errors, omissions? None noted. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Aye.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Léveillé?
Yes.
And Councillor Yanch?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Business arising from the minutes, 4.1, the Alto High-Speed Rail Project. It's a report from the March the 5th, 2026 open house. And I guess I'm not going to read that. It's all in the, for anyone who was at the open house or has been to one or participated virtually or in any other way. They were interesting to say the least. They were well, I wouldn't say scripted, rehearsed, and well attended. And the feedback's here. Does anyone want to have any comments they want to provide about the open house other than what you've provided? And I appreciate all the comments we received. It's just this report is a summary of our findings. Our findings are what went on at the open house. One thing that is just a reminder, I will remind them that the community that the period that's open for providing comments has been extended from March the 29th to April the 24th. Please take some time if you haven't and provide some comments to this project. And there's a number of ways to do that. You can go online and mark up a map. You can submit a draft, a report to them essentially. Go to a couple open houses that they're still there. There's some virtual sessions as well. So please take some time and do that. And we also, at the end of the report, if the route for Addington Highland it's chosen that it would be through our municipality, there's three items in there I do want to point out. One is we would definitely, as a municipality, need to be proactive and work with Alto to ensure we mitigate the impact of that project. Would also want to ensure that all the stakeholders, anyone who has interest in this project could be affected by it, that they're involved. And we would want to, as a municipality, ensure that they had an opportunity to be involved. And the third one is there will be likely, it's been reported by Alto, some sort of community benefits agreement or vibrancy fund, however, whatever you may call it. And we would want to negotiate for the best possible outcome for Addington Highlands. So we need to keep those in mind and not lose sight of those actions that we should take if and whenever the decision is made and if it would come through our municipality. So if there's no other comments, can we just have a motion that we receive this report? Moved by Councillor Yantch, second by Councillor Thompson. If no other comments, I'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Denbigh?
Yes.
Councillor Yantch?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. None noted. No delegations or petitions. Matters for consideration. Item 7.1 is appointment of a member of council as an alternate to represent our township on county council if the Reeve or deputy Reeve is absent. Christine, did you want to speak to that?
Sure. Thank
Please.
you. So further to the events that happened with council last fall, it was decided at the time when Reeve Fritsch took on the role of Reeve and Deputy Reeve Hook took on the role of Deputy Reeve, that we acknowledged that there was a vacancy as an alternate to county council, but it was decided by council to hold off filling that vacancy until our vacant council seat from Ward 1 was filled. So now that we have that filled, council needs to appoint an alternate to county council in the event that the Reeve or Deputy Reeve is unable to attend.
Thank you, Christine. So, yes, Deputy Hook.
I'd like to recommend that we appoint Councillor Yantch. She's been on county council. She has county council experience, and she's the closest to Napanee too. It's a long drive anyways, but yeah.
How are you, Councillor Yantch, with that? You're fine with that?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Thompson. Are there any other nominations, so to speak? No. So, okay, we have a motion on the table to approve Councillor Yantch as the alternate. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson?
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook?
Yes.
Councillor Leveillé?
Yes.
Councillor Yantch?
Yes.
And that motion is carried. And thank you, Councillor Yantch, for accepting. Oh, yes, we have a bylaw in here, right?
So
yeah.
just to clarify, then we will insert Councillor Yantch's name on the blank space that's included in the bylaw in your agenda.
Okay, we'll move on to 7.2, resolution from Township of McNabb, Braeside seeking. Can we have a motion to adopt that bylaw? Deputy Reeve Hook, Councillor Thompson. And we'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Leveillé, and Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Thank you, Christine, for reminding me. 7.2, the resolution, McNabb Braeside is just seeking support of their resolution for a review and modernization of the Heritage Ontario Heritage Organization Development Grant. What's your wishes? Deputy Reeve Hook?
I have some experience dealing with this grant. It's commonly called the Hodge Grant. It's one of the grants that the Cloyne District Historical Society receives every year. And it's one of the ones that we rely on, of course, with the township funding as well. And as they said in the motion, when this was established back in 2010, it was $1,545, and 15 years later, it's the same amount. So by comparison, in 2010, the minimum wage for students was $10.25 an hour, and in 2026, it's $17.60. So, I mean, the costs have certainly gone up. We're of course happy with any kind of grant that the Historical Society receives, but it'd be nice to have an increase based on inflation. So I would support their resolution.
So it's moved by, moved by Deputy Reeve Hook, seconded by Councillor Levier. Any comments? Okay, we'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Olivier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. And we're on to 7.3, resolution from the Township of Papineau Cameron, seeking support of the resolution requesting that the Ontario Veterinary College, Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness, and the Canadian Veterinary Medical Association consider expanding their enrollment capacity at the Ontario Veterinary College. Councillor Yance,
Motion to receive and support.
mover to receive and support. Second by Councillor Levier. Any comments? No. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance, and that motion is carried. Item 7.4, resolution from Regional Municipality York, asking for support of their resolution calling on the province of Ontario to intervene to ensure the Circular Materials Ontario and its contractors provide fair, consistent, and equitable recycling collection service levels all across Ontario. Sounds to me like if you were having some teething problems, and which probably can be expected. So what's your wishes? Deputy Hook?
I think in Brett's upcoming report, we're doing okay, but it'd be nice to know how we compare to the other municipalities. There must be some questions and problems, so it'd be nice to have some kind of report from Circular Materials Ontario on how it's going overall. So I would support the resolution.
Yes. Second by Councillor Levier. Any other comments? Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. And section 8, matters for information. Maybe we'll start first with a motion to receive all matters. Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Yance. Is there anything anyone wants to pick out of that? The only thing I know I'd comment on is the consolidation of the Ontario Conservation Authorities in 8.2. It looks like when that's completed, the funding will all be at the county level. And so will the representation be pulled from the county level. So that'll be a change. Yeah. So a mover and a second or anything else? No. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Desbiens.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Reports of committees and boards. Properties and Rec, we had a meeting on March 4th. The OPP Detachment Board, there's a meeting March 26th. Library Board or any others? Anyone? Nope. We'll move on to the 9.8, Joint Fire Committee. Township of North Frontenac resolution. Resolution in here to increase the contribution to reserves to $250,000. Someone on the board can explain for the public what it was before, and if they have.
I think it was 200,000 or 220,000, I think it was, and then it was stated by the fire chief that by 2031, Basically, the fire department would be insolvent if we do not keep adding more money to reserves. So North Frontenac had already budgeted for $250,000. So since we haven't budgeted anything yet, we haven't approved this, but North Frontenac has approved it. So we still have to go through that. So we'll do that this week, but that's basically what this is about. It was just putting more money into reserves.
So whatever that is, it's 30,000 or something, right? Okay, just to put it in perspective. And is there any other comments on it? Okay, so yeah, I guess we have to have a motion to
I'll make a motion to receive that.
receive it and refer it to our budget process. Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Deputy Reeve Hook. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Reports of officers, 1011. Under Manager Roads and Waste, March 17th update. Brett, I'll turn that over to you.
Afternoon. I guess we had some periodic breaks from winter over the last couple of weeks, but it seems to have come back with a vengeance here last day or so. With the rain and warmer temperatures, the snow amounts did drop, and roads were back to spring-like conditions. We're doing our best to keep the roads in decent condition without making anything worse. Sometimes you can, if you're going over them when they're muddy with heavy vehicles and that, then it can make things a lot worse. That being said, load restrictions are in effect throughout the township and the county. And they're posted on Municipal 511 if anybody has any questions about that. We also have them posted on our website and our Facebook page that they're still on. Once we take them off, we will notify through the same process as we've been doing to notify people that they're on. Our tandem plow truck specs are being reviewed, and we'll be placing an order this week or next using our canoe procurement group as we've done previously. Our backhoe from Northbrook is still being repaired, and once we get that fixed, we'll be returning the loader to a rental company. As far as the waste sites, they're operating normally. Positive comments are coming from our tenants about using old recycling bins for our household garbage. They're saying there's amount of debris from wind and animals have drastically been reduced, which is a good thing. Recycling is working out okay for now. There's might be some changes that need to be made to our layout in the future just to, I guess, address traffic concerns and such. Try and make things a little more, a little easier in the waste sites. One other thing that I didn't have on my report, but I think everybody did receive an email about Royce Rosenblatt being honored at the Ontario Road Supers meeting for 30 years of supervisory service with the township. So just wanted to mention that in our report. And it'll be taking place March 30th and at 1:15 there. So at the Fairmont Royal York. So I just wanted to mention that. He served here for a long time, and he left us. He left a legacy here with us. So I just wanted to mention that we appreciate his efforts, and hopefully he can come to receive his award. So.
Thank you, Brett. Any questions for Brett? I have one comment, just, I had a positive experience at the waste site with the new arrangement. Just for me personally, when I went in there, it was very easy. I went to the Monaco site and the transition from the previous arrangement to this arrangement. Actually, in some ways, it's easier. Certainly, if you throw the wrong bin into the wrong dumpster, it's a lot easier for the attendant to fix the problem or to pick stuff out because, yeah, I liked it personally. That's just my feeling. I thought it's a good arrangement. So, yes, and certainly congratulations to Royce. It's 30 years is well, for anyone in the same line of business, it's a remarkable accomplishment. So, congratulations. No questions, and we have a motion to receive Brett's report. Moved by Councillor Yance, seconded by Councillor Levier. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
and Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion is carried. No report from the CBO. We'll move on to the CL Clerk Treasurer. Christine, you've got a few of them here. Purchasing policy. You can go ahead, please.
Thank you. So every year, we need to report on the purchasing or lease financing from the previous year. So the report in front of you, included in your package, outlines the arrangements that we had at the end of 2025. So just at a really high level, in terms of leases, the township does lease the photocopier in the township office. The rental amount for that particular unit was $1,681.44 for 2025. In addition, we also rent the postage meter, and it is a yearly cost of $426.80. In terms of long-term financing arrangements, we do have a few of them in place related to the acquisition of primarily facilities or upgrading of facilities. So the first one on the list refers to the Northbrook Medical Center, which was purchased in 2010. It was purchased for $635,000 plus the $100,000 in chattels and legal costs. The amount that was financed originally was $751,539, and this arrangement carries on until July 2030. The principal unpaid balance at the end of December of 2025 was $256,523.20, and as mentioned, the payments will wind up in 2030. The other arrangement the township has is with the Northbrook Fire Hall. That was a new build, which was completed in 2015. The cost of the construction was $1,582,590. There was a portion that was levied over 2010 to 2014, amount of $407 and $407,131. That was levied so that we didn't need to borrow that money. So the amount that was borrowed to complete the construction of the fire hall was $1,175,459. This also was financed through Ontario Infrastructure Loan. This will be paid off in 2045, and the principal balance owing at the end of December 2025 was $783,639.31. We also have a loan for the new addition of the municipal office at the Flinton Hall. The construction began in 2019 and was completed in 2020 at a total cost of $1,134,480.56. An amount of $750,000 was financed through an Ontario infrastructure loan, with the remaining coming from the reserve for working capital in general. The payments for this will wind up in 2040, and the outstanding principal balance owing at the end of December 2025 was $589,233.59. In summary, no long-term township financing for equipment or property currently exists in the form of a traditional lease. 100% of office equipment rental rates are payable as an annual operating cost. All other long-term financing has been arranged through Infrastructure Ontario using fixed terms and lending rates. The total of all long-term financing falls well within the township's annual repayment limit, which is adjusted on an annual basis. Infrastructure Ontario financing has been chosen for the Northbrook Medical Center, the Fire Hall, and the Municipal Office due to the fact that long-term financing through other financial institutions is sometimes much more difficult, if not impossible to obtain, and much more costly. The process through Infrastructure Ontario is actually quite slick, and it's been working really well for the municipality. Does anyone have any questions about that report?
Go ahead, Deputy Reeve Hook.
A question or comment about the Northbrook Medical Center.
Mm.
Is the family health team aware of the finances, the township finances on that part, or is that something we don't share with them?
No, we don't typically share that with them. If they were to ask, we certainly would, but it's never been part of any discussions with them.
I'm just wondering if it would be a good idea to share it with them. And I realized that we had to purchase the medical center to get funding, family health team funding. But and I'm not suggesting we change anything. I'm just thinking that they may not be aware that the community is very supportive of the medical center. Of course, we appreciate the doctors and, you know, I'm sure they're aware of that. But it's an ongoing commitment from the community because we don't break even. We're not even close, and it equates to over a 1% extra levy. And I just think they should be made aware of that otherwise they won't know that this is ongoing. Every year we run a shortfall because we don't charge more for the rent. I know there's an increase, but it's a good deal, but we don't mind that because we need our doctors. But I still think it's important for them to know that the community is really supporting that each year, because I expect we'll have a downfall or a shortfall next year and the year after that and the year after that. So just suggesting it might be a good idea, just so they're aware. So they don't think that the rent is paying for them, because otherwise they wouldn't know, right? So that's my suggestion.
Yes, yeah, we would need a resolution to inform them. We could just inform them. They may have been part of discussions years ago. Yeah, and we would always hope a building like that would break even, and I won't say it will, because once the loan's paid off, there's probably other work to be done to it. So, yeah, any other comments on that one? Yeah, you're right. We are very fortunate. The building's there and that the township purchased it. Even though it's subsidized. Okay, we'll move on. And do we have a mover and a seconder? No, we didn't. We have a mover and a seconder for that. Receive that report. Moved by Deputy Reeve Hook, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Leveillé.
Yes.
And Councillor Yench.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. 10-3-2. It's another report from Christine. I'll let you go ahead. It's regarding equipment. It's regarding, this one's regarding council.
Yes, thank you. So similar to the last report, annually, we also have to report on the council expenditures for the preceding year by the end of March. So circulated in council's agenda package was the report that outlines what each of those were. It includes the annual allowance, which is your honorarium that you receive, any mileage that is paid to members of council during the course of the year, any per diems, meaning that if a member of council is outside of the municipality for a length of time, usually an entire day, then they would get a per diem paid to them. Any additional expenses with respect to the only one noted expense on the report would be for Reeve Fritsch, and that relates to the issuance of a cell phone for his new position as Reeve. In addition, we also report on any of the expenses, any of the remuneration that is paid to our appointees at both the Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority and the Quinte Conservation Authority. In addition, we would also report on what was paid to our member representing the township on the Police Services Board. That would have been the former Reeve Hogg. Unfortunately, there were no expenses that were paid to him last year, so they don't appear on this particular report. Do any members of council have any questions?
Okay, thanks, Christine, for the report. And next we have a motion to receive this report. Moved by Councillor Levier, seconded by Councillor Yantch. Call the vote, Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yantch.
Yes.
That motion is carried. We're on to 10.3.3, Treasurer's Report on Building Services Cost and Reserves for 2025. You should go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, similarly, this is another report that needs to be presented to council by the end of March in the year following the last ended fiscal year. So this summarizes the Building Services Department costs and revenues for 2025. It takes into account wages and benefits, payroll costs as well, including WSIB, mileage that is paid to our CBO, other expenses that he incurs, including clothing allowances, conferences, training sessions, as well as any remuneration from any support staff that he receives within the office that gets charged back to this department, and any indirect costs. So we do apportion out a very little amount of the hydro, telephone, and insurance and charge back to the building department. So the total expenses reported for 2025 is $150,362.39. The revenues that we realized in 2025 were building and plumbing permits, 88,119. Septic permits were 30,300. Other permit fees were 6,400, and other inspection revenue was $325. The deemed net revenues then were $125,144.20. Ideally, the building department is revenue neutral, meaning that the expenses incurred are offset by the revenues that are generated. As our CBO has reported numerous times in the last few months, in the latter part of last year, building activity within the municipality has slowed greatly, whether that's, who knows the reason, whether it's just the economic times we find ourselves in or a lack of interest in building projects. Nonetheless, we did find ourselves in a bit of a loss situation for 2025. So $25,218.19 will be coming from reserves in order to cover that shortfall. One thing that there's approximately 150,000 currently in that reserve to cover times just like this. So in the event that we are in a positive, then the surplus money goes into reserves to cover rainy days such as this. If this though continues on, at some point council may want to examine building permit fees just to make sure that they are adequate, and that might not be perhaps a place where we can look to try to generate some additional income. I wouldn't suggest increasing it just to cover costs, because you have to be sure you're fair to the residents of Addington Highlands, but at the same time, an exercise to review where we are in relation to neighboring municipalities is never a bad idea. This is the second year that we have run at a loss. My recommendation is, when we see what happens at the end of 2026, that perhaps it might be time for a discussion to at least review what the neighboring municipalities surrounding us are doing.
Thank you, Christine, for the report. Do you have any questions for Christine? Deputy Reeve Hook?
Just a comment, I support like not increasing the building permit fees more, because it's more of a disincentive to apply for a permit, but I still think there's a lot of building going on in the township with no permits, and that's what we have to. I think that's our area that we can improve on greatly.
Yes, go ahead.
And I can definitely pass that information along for sure. And I agree with you wholeheartedly about permit fees, and keeping them reasonable does entice people. Although it's a requirement to get a building permit, we all know that building does happen without permits. And if we make the cost too exorbitant, that will make the challenge getting permits even greater, I think.
Any other questions? So there is a recommendation here that it be resolved that the treasurer's report for 2025 building services cost and reserve made pursuant to section 10 of bylaw 079/2020 be adopted as circulated. Moved by Councillor Yance, seconded by Councillor Thompson. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. We move to item 10.4, Deputy Clerk Planning Secretary. This item is the County of Lennox and Addington Property Development Request to purchase a property in Addington Highlands for housing. Turn that over to you, Patricia.
Thank you. So yes, this report was further to the meeting held in November 5th, 2024, when council received a report regarding the county's request for partnering in a high-density social housing project, and the council proceeded to have staff advise staff that the county was that the municipality was interested in the partnering and add a suitable housing project, and further that viable property could be donated to the project and there would be no development charges. So staff prepared a list for the county of suitable and viable properties, which were included in that report in November. And since then had a meeting with county staff as well, regarding one parcel that they were looking at in particular, which is the parcel south of Northbrook on the east side of the highway, described as Concession 7, Part Lot 26, Geographic Township of Caladar, and further described as Part 1 on Survey Plan 29R 7838. So that parcel is currently vacant. It's 3.92 hectares in size and is zoned rural. It would require an entrance permit from the Ministry of Transportation, as it is located right on Highway 41. And there is an unopened road allowance which runs behind the parcel that would be under the jurisdiction of the municipality. The lot is unserviced and it should be able to accommodate a fourplex. When we were looking at the sizing, it does have constraints on the parcel. There are some wetlands and low areas. So the county was looking at having some engineering to come out and survey the lot to determine that there is a building envelope. The county requests that the parcel be transferred to them and they would assume ownership for the nominal fee of $1. The county included in their 2025 budget $225,000 for the development of up to 3 properties to a shovel-ready state so that future funding could be obtained if it became available. This equated to $75,000 per municipality, and it would be used to bring the property up to that shovel-ready state and include associated planning costs, engineering, legal costs, that type of thing, just to get the property ready. There is a reversion clause that the county is proposing that if the property is declared surplus to their needs and they do not build either a housing project or perhaps a daycare, that the property would then revert back to the municipality and the municipality would benefit from that land being all of those studies being done and the land being brought ready to a shovel-ready state. So I provided some information regarding the agreement structure in the report and the financial impact. Of course, there would be the property transfer of $1 and the funding source is from the county through their budgeting process, and there's no financial obligation by the municipality. There is a recommendation that the property be declared surplus, Concession 7, Part Lot 26, Part 1 on 29R 7838 in the Geographic Township of Caladar. And further, that the sale of the subject property to the county of Lennox and Addington be approved in principle. And further, that council hereby authorize staff to negotiate the terms of the property transfer agreement with the county of Lennox and Addington for the land located as described. And for the purpose of an affordable housing project, subject to the following terms: the property transfers for a nominal consideration of $1, county assumption of all development costs. County assumes the development of all costs up to an estimated 75,000, and the county assumption of all planning, engineering, legal costs associated with the transfer and rezoning site development. There also be a reversion clause ensuring that the property returns to the township should it be deemed surplus to the county's housing and social service needs, and the property be used exclusively for social service housing or daycare purposes. And further, that council hereby authorize staff to provide in-kind support to the county where appropriate to facilitate the efficient processing and development of lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Just before I turn it over to council for they may have questions or comments, I had just add a couple comments. One is this is a significant, say, step forward in collaboration, certainly by the county and in collaboration with Addington Highlands to identify and get, as Patricia points out, get a lot of land shovel ready so that we are in a position, the county's in a position based on funding and other sort of strategic decisions at the time, we would be ready, similar to other municipalities. So very pleased about that. I want to thank our staff for the work that they've done in supporting the county and in identifying properties and then supporting them in this recent work for this site. And certainly want to point out, thank fellow members of our county council for their support of this project, because these projects tend to easily get, sometimes they're not all that easy to sell at times, and because you're setting a target, identifying, let's say, a location in a municipality, sometimes there's this feeling by the community that the building's going to start being built right away, but that's not the case. We would have a site and there's no timeline identified for a building. Just want to make sure that that's clear. So we'll turn it over to members of council for questions or comments. Councilor Levier?
Yeah, I think social housing or even daycare is an ideal thing. I think we see all these people that live in trailers and stuff that might be helpful for them, or seniors for that matter. So I think this is a great idea. I'm assuming there's no cost from what I've just heard, and I guess the future will determine whether we get involved or not. Is that correct?
Yes, there's no cost to municipality other than the work that we're doing just to provide, I'm going to say, administrative help for the project or the property. And if it went ahead, typically it would be through social services at the county level.
Okay, that's great. I think it's a great idea.
Deputy Hook?
I think it's good news. It's a long time coming. I know these projects take a long time, but I think we're talking about this in the third year. So I'm very thankful that we are seeing some movement and this is a good sign. I had a question about the term shovel ready. Patricia mentioned that it is a little bit low land in there. Does shovel ready mean, as far as the planning, it's not doing any infilling on our part to make it shovel ready? That's part of the county's development cost? Filling in per fill to bring it up level in some areas?
It would include the engineering and geotechnical studies and that to determine what is required. I don't know that it would necessarily include the cost of infilling, if that is what's deemed to be determined, but we could look into that. It's up to a $75,000 cap anyway, is what was committed.
I believe the scope of that work is having all your permits in place, all the approvals in place, and your geotechnical work done so that you know that the building site is suitable, that everything can be done, but you haven't put a shovel in the ground. So you not necessarily built an entrance, you haven't done anything to the site. Yeah. But it's all ready to go. So you wouldn't be held up with any of those approvals or I'm going to say exploratory work such as geotechnical work. That would be the condition of the site would be known and it had been determined suitable and everything's ready to go. Did you have anything you want to add to that, Christy? No? Yeah, so it's exciting. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Deputy Hook.
And another thing I wanted to point out is that being under the umbrella of social services, they will decide who will be in there when and if it'll be, not like the former IRCA housings, which has been turned over as well, or in the process of being turned over, right? Yeah.
Yes.
People always ask, who's going to be in there, but that'll be decision from the county level PLAS.
Yes, and that process follows something that the province has in place. It's not like they can pick and choose who goes into it. It's a very structured process. Yeah. Okay, so there's a recommendation in here that contains a number of items that Patricia has read out. So do we have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Fook, seconded by Councillor Yatch. Any other questions? No. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Fook, Councillor Levier,
Yes.
Councillor Yatch.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Thank you, Patricia, for the report. And you have another item, Patricia, on the Quinte Conservation Authority tree planting program.
Thank you. So further to the information that council received from Lindsay Nash, Quinte Conservation Authority, regarding the tree partnership application, we received information on Friday last week that deadline for submissions for the project to be included in the application is April 13th. There is a minimum project amount of $1,000 that has been set by the Conservation Authority. The funding is a 50-50 cost share. If the township is interested in submitting a project, it would be responsible for 50% of that budget. And Quinte Conservation is inviting private landowners and organizations to participate in the funding as well. So they have provided a flyer that has been prepared and can be posted for the public and advertised on social media. So my recommendation based on this information received would be that council determine if they wish to proceed with a project and submit a project for the application. And if participating, determine the scope of that project and further advertise the application opportunity on our community bulletin boards in the township facilities and on the township website or Facebook page, sorry. And then further that this verbal report be received.
Thanks, Patricia. Do we have, yes, Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, so I don't know rest of council's feelings on this, and I think it's a very worthwhile project if anybody wants to do that. But one thing we don't lack in our municipality are trees. So I just don't know whether we want to go ahead with that or not.
Deputy Fook?
I agree with Councillor Thompson, and seems to be the same sentiment over in North Frontenac Township. They have a lot of trees too. But possibly we could send the notice to the lake associations and the Quinte watershed. Because I know they've done tree programs in the past. They might be interested with this opportunity.
Yes, Councillor Levier?
Yeah, I understood as well that private landowners can get involved in this, so maybe find a way to notify them that if they do want, that they need to contact them directly.
Okay. Yes, any other comment? No. One thing that just to see, council would consider it, is for us to plant 3 to 5 trees in each of our township parks. Some hardwood tree. These could be something substantial, not a 10-inch tall seedling, but something that comes from a nursery. Did you want to speak to that, Patricia?
Sure, I could. I did do some investigating as to what the cost of a tree, 6 to 7 feet tall, a maple tree would cost, in anticipation that council may be looking to do something. So I did check only with one nursery just to see what that would be. So they reference it as a 7-gallon pot, and a trees cost approximately $150 to $200. They do require a lot of watering in the first year. But that was my investigation to look into to see what shade trees cost in case there was any interest in that.
Does any member of council have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think if I look at the park back here, it could use a couple of trees where people, when the benches go up, it'd be nice to be able to sit under a tree of shade, especially on those hot days. So it might be a good idea to look into it.
Any other? Yes, Patricia?
And I guess if we were looking at the parks, what comes to mind is the Flinton Recreation Park, Tracy Park, Heritage Park, or the community garden. All of those areas probably could benefit from a shade tree or two.
Yes, does any member of council want to proceed with that? Want to make a motion, or you want to leave it as it is? No, go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, I would agree that we should look at it, and it doesn't sound like there was 5 or 6 parks we're talking about. So we're looking at maybe $1,500. So it would be good to have those trees, I think.
Well, if you had a couple trees in each park or something, you could be into the 15 trees or 20 trees if it was 3 trees in a park. Patricia?
I suppose one way to do it too would be, a maximum, it needs to be a minimum project of at least $1,000. What would the maximum be? Because we do have to make that financial contribution, so council could consider it that way as well.
What about $2,000? I'm just going to throw that out.
I think that'd be a good start, and then we could revisit this. This is an annual thing that goes on, so, even if we did one per park, it would make it easy to add to it as time went on.
Any other comments? So you're making a motion then that we approve up to $2,000 to plant trees in all of our parks, including the community garden.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Just have one question. So, we would come under this umbrella, Patricia, so they would put $1,000 towards it also? Under
What
this, when they're talking about a grant here, so the minimum project costs $1,000. So do they contribute money to this, or they just give us the trees?
Quinty Conservation? No, they would submit the application, the funding, we would get the funding
Yeah.
for, so if we're doing a $2,000 project, the 1,000 would come from that funding,
Right,
yep,
yeah.
and we would contribute the
Yeah,
other,
okay.
yep.
Thank you for asking that question, clarifying it. We had a mover. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Thompson. Councillor Yance?
Who's watering these trees?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. I know when we planted the 40 or 50 fruit trees 10 years ago, some of them survived, some of them didn't. It depended more on the conditions where they were planted, you know, the environment. Yeah. Try not to plant one in a pile of sand. But it's not that easy to organize. We don't have a Parks and Recreation employees, so. Christine, do you have a comment?
Yeah, we do though have lawn maintenance in each of those parks. So we could add it to their duties that they have to water those trees. It's a possibility.
I guess especially during the critical times, if it turned out to be a terribly dry summer or something, you wouldn't want to see them die needlessly. Yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Thompson.
In the Heritage Park, it's quite damp anyway, so, I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't have to be watered, but I mean, we have lots of water down there. The ground's always softened with water, so. But I mean, if it became an issue, I live right here. I mean, I could do that, you know, for the hot months or whatever. I drive to Denbigh every day anyways, so.
Okay, so yes, we had a mover and a seconder. Any other questions or comments? I call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook,
Yes.
Councillor Olivier,
Yes.
and Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion's carried. Thank you. Nothing from, do you have something else, Christine?
Just before we move on, do we want to have council do a motion to have staff provide the information contained in this flyer on the township's social media page to advertise the initiative?
Yes, moved by Councillor Yance, seconded by Deputy Reeve Hook. We'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier,
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Yes. You're welcome. Nothing from the fire chief, reports of appointees. Nothing, no resolutions. Approval of the counts as of March 15th, 2026, moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Yance. Any questions on the accounts? Deputy Reeve Hook?
Just the one entry there to the town of Greater Napanee for an election. I just wondered what that was. $160.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead, Christine.
So that refers to the payment to the individual that sat on the Joint Compliance Audit Committee. I knew the initials, I just couldn't put it together. So for every election, municipalities need to appoint this audit committee in case that there are issues that come up throughout the year, whether with the initial election or any by-elections that happen throughout the term of council. And that's the remuneration, Addington Highlands, part of the remuneration. And we share that with the other 3 lower tier municipalities.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so we had to move in our seconder. Right. Call about Councillor Thompson,
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier
Yes.
and Councillor Yance.
Yes.
That motion's carried. Any members' statements? Councillor Thompson.
I just want to clarify, when we talked earlier about the resolution from North Frontenac on the contribution to I said we would address that this week in the budget meeting, but it's next week, right? Next week, yes. Okay, just in case anybody's watching, they're thinking, well, I thought it was next week, but it's next week, yeah.
Great, thanks for the clarification. We'll move on. Any new business? Bylaws? Closed meeting. So pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, this part of the meeting will be closed to the public in order to adopt closed meeting minutes of March 3rd and to receive an update on an update regarding litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality. So we have a motion to go into closed, moved by Councillor Yance, second by Councillor Olivier. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Olivier.
Yes.
Councillor Yance.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. We will now go into closed. Good afternoon. We're back into open meeting. A closed meeting was held at 1:59 PM today pursuant to Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended in order to adopt closed meeting minutes of March 3rd and to receive an update on it regarding litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality. We have a motion that the recommendations from the closed meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Yant, seconded by Deputy Reeve Hook. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yant.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. Number 18 is confirming bylaw for 3 readings. Councillor Yant, seconded by Deputy Reeve Hook. And we'll call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
And Councillor Yant.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. And a motion to adjourn. Councillor Yant and Councillor Thompson. Call the vote. Councillor Thompson.
Aye.
Deputy Reeve Hook.
Yes.
Councillor Levier.
Yes.
Councillor Yant.
Yes.
And that motion is carried. And happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Meeting is adjourned.